All right, welcome back. This is still the Polity, reaching you live from Abuja. Those were some reports to bring you up to speed on happenings around the nation in Abuja and elsewhere. I've been joined now in the studio by policy analyst Dr. Suleiman Abdullahi to speak on the state of the nation and recent happenings around the nation. Good afternoon and welcome to the program.
Afternoon, Mr. Martin.
It's good to have you.
It's a pleasure once again meeting you. How is your day?
Fine. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you very much.
All right, let's start with what has kicked into gear today, reportedly, which is the strike or the warning strike by the NLC. They are still decrying the increasing hardship and suffering across the country, as they say, by the removal of fuel subsidy. I'd like to get your take on this, particularly the route we followed. There were negotiations, there was protest, there was end to strike or end to protest, and then there's a warning strike. You know, it's been going back and forth, negotiations, counter negotiations, and so on and so forth. What do you make of the whole situation?
You see, it's just like a game of chess between NLC and the government, Nigerian government. Today, the NLC are not new to the federal government, to the government system of model of operandi when it comes to increase in fuel or removal of subsidy or asking for increase in salary or minimum wage level. It is not a new thing today to the NLC. And let me tell you, we have this common slogan in the barrack. We said, Suja go, Suja come, barrack remain the same. Government remain government. A new government in place, a new government, old government in the system, the government remain the federal government of Nigeria. All the record negotiation between now and NLC and the federal government is not a new thing to the government. So what are you saying? They knew the quite all right one, they knew one another quite all right, and they know quite all right the card they are playing. So everybody want to outsmart the other. And thus we have the last stroke, the last negotiation card in their heart. That look, if you don't want, we go this way. That's the strike. And government knows quite well that look, we need to tell the whole world like we want to call NLC to negotiation table. So look, if the federal government is trying to romance NLC in a way that is not comfortable and will not be comfortable to the entire workers, Nigerians, NLC know where to go and how to go about it. But let me tell you, it's just a warning strike of 2 days, Tuesday and Wednesday. It does stop negotiation. So what is there is that, look, at this point in time, the government should come forward with a clean slate. What do you have? A, B, C, D, E, F. It's quite easy, simple. Unless they make it clear, this is our submission to who? To NLC. And then let's allow NLC look at it and also brief the nation. This is what has been presented to us as a measure from the federal government, and this is our take. And let everybody know, then we can now make a judgment and stand and know quite all right who is at fault and who is not at fault. Up till now, the palliative measure given to the federal by the federal government was 5 billion naira to each state. And what are we saying, Amadin? It's not the right step on the right direction. Let me tell you, you give 5 billion naira to a state governor to share as a palliative measure. How about the normal monthly subvention that they are collecting from the federal government? What they with it? How they can account for it? Then you are now adding 5 billion naira to them. Then how sincere are most of these governors to their what? To their subject, their citizens. So we expect Mr. President to take a pragmatic action when it comes to palliative measure for him to have a direct impact on the citizens. 5 billion naira, of course, is not a joke to any state. But how have you route this money that will have direct impact on the grassroots? Those that really need this money. If you read towards the governors, we still have an outstanding issue between the governors and the local government, the state and local government. You understand now? How does it go? How they even handle the local government fund? They have joint account that most of the government are misusing it and are abusing it. And now we are routing under 5 billion naira. And what happened to the bailout that the former president said he give to the state? What happened to it have no impact on the grassroots. Now you are routing another 5 billion. What are we saying? It's just like still continue to put, dropping water into the basket, and you think it will have an impact on the people, on the people. You want to get water out of your water safe. It's wrong. To me, I don't think it's going to hit any effect. So the expected result has not yet been. To get the expected result, we have not reached to the point whereby we are expecting to feel any impact of the federal government palliative measures. Let me be sincere with you. So, issues now that, look, we need a new strategy. Let me tell you, this government in place, I so much have confidence in Mr. President, looking at where he's coming from and his pedigree, his experience when it comes to governance and management of resources. Believe me, honestly, I have, even at this age, I have 100% confidence in Mr. President that, look, Bola Ahmed Tinubu will be able to do justice.
Well, speaking about that capacity, do you think the NLC is asking too much of the president or of the federal government, or do you think that what they're asking for is well within the powers of the federal government and that they should be doing it already?
Let me tell you, whatever the NLC are asking, what they are asking is still within the reach of what they expect and they knew quite all right the federal government will be able to offer. If not, that's what I said in the beginning, let the federal government make it open to everybody. This is what NLC are requesting, and this is what we can offer. Look at our budget, look at our source of income, revenue, intergeneration, and look at our debt profile, you understand now, and look at what we have on the ground, and this is the challenges, reality we are facing. So NLC, looking at ideal situation, what we are asking for will have been this, but looking at the reality on ground, the federal government cannot afford this. This is what we can afford for now. Take this one home, go and start issuing it as a measure to your people. Let's see if this improves in terms of revenue generation, and we look at what we want to put in place as infrastructure projects, and so we are making way forward. Then we can come back to renegociate. We will call you when things get better. Let's look at how much have governments saved within the last 100 or 120 days in office out of what this fuel increase, subsidy removal. Let's look at it. Then what the government also have its own project plan, because they have a lot of commitment manifestos that they need to practicalize. They need to carry the people along. They have a lot of packages of promises, that have given to the people during the general process. So now it is time for them to manifest it and make it practical. So what are we saying here is, look, let the government look at it. What NSC is asking, what they have on the ground. Our project need 45%, our debt need 35%, our cost of maintaining the issue of strike and other things need 20%. Then you balance the equation. If your equation is balanced, you put miscellaneous 10, 20, 15%, put it on the ground. Then you now forge your head. Look, about it, I've said it all in while. Sometimes when I look at governance, I don't know the way we think it. It's quite, you say sometimes it's not as simple as we look at it, but sometimes you need to put some measures in place. It's a whole balance, it's a sheet that you need to balance. Carry everybody along, the state, all stakeholders, look at what is their take. How do you cut, how do you give this, and where do you cut and balance the other one, and how do you go about it? If you cannot do this simple administrative arithmetic, then we are finding it difficult. How do we make forward, how do we make way out of it? It's a simple arithmetic. You bring everybody to it. This, as far as Mr. President is concerned, he knew quite all right that he had the mandate of Nigerians, understand now, and he need to tell them, this mandate you have given to me, this is where I want to go, but these people want to cripple, want to make me ineffective. You bring them in, then we will know how to face it. Are we to face the federal government or to face the NLC? And believe me, honestly, NLC, the government is there for the people. And now NLC is clear, look, we are there for the people. Both of us say, look, we have the interest of the people. Then who do we listen to, the federal government or the NLC? Then somebody must be joking. Somebody must be sincere, to all the citizens. So in this aspect, let's look at it. Who is more sincere, who is more sincere? Everyone should place his card. And we have the say. We have to look at it, criticize it, and we have to criticize with all rational point of view, and we have to look at it progressively with all what we call practical criticism. We will look at it measure it from all ways that will have a serious impact positively on the government, on the NLC, and at the state itself. So in this aspect, you look at ABC, who is correct, who is not correct, and where do we take position, and where do we stay? We have the mandate to protect the government. If the NLC have anything hidden agenda, and we also have the interest, to protect the interest of the people, the workers, that the NLC is a body fighting in the interest of the workers. Because we are one way or the other affected when it affects the civil servant, the civil service. So what we are saying here is that, look, we must get it right, either by the government or through the NLC. So if this is what we are saying, both the government and the NLC are heading towards in the same direction with one point of view. That shows the interest of the citizen. If the interest of the citizen is paramount to the two of them, then good and fine. Then let them come to negotiation table and once use diplomacy to negotiate and let it be a win-win for both of them. The government, because they are all talking about the citizens of Nigeria, and this is our take. So here we stand that, look, let NLC allow us know what are they asking for. Give a press briefing, make a publication, give it out. Let's see. Let's look at what the government have said, either openly or closely in a closed meeting, and then make it open. You can't call me to come and fight the government without telling me what have you discussed with the government, and what is the take of the government, and what are your takes, and you tell me I should come and come and demonstrate. And tomorrow the newspaper headline will be that, look, the policemen are fighting the other citizens because no, you don't play on our own intelligence. Bring it to the forbearing. Let us understand. What are you fighting for? Yes, quite all right, agree. Things are very difficult in the country. The economic hardship is really telling on every individual in this country, both the rich and the poor. Let me be sincere with you. You agree or you don't agree? Because if the rich used to spend 115,000 naira a day, now he has to spend 350,000 naira a day. Before you spend 150,000 naira a day, now you have to spend 350. So you know that whatever your reserve is deeply running, you are running out of what your plans as a rich man. The same thing applicable to the poor man. So the more dependent the poor on the rich man, the more now you see the poor man getting, a person on the rich man.
All right, just, we like to always proffer solutions. To your mind, what do you think could be some of these things that the government could be doing? You've talked about the 5 billion, and which you said we're not sure about the route and how it could get to the common man or how it really helps directly. But in your own, by your own thoughts, what do you think would be something tangible for the government to roll out? That even if when it's done, the NLC continuing to protest or strike would now seem weird and unnatural because the government has already done something that is directly helping people.
Let me tell you, I always say sometimes when you look at strategy in leadership, where do you place your priority matters a lot. And when you look at the economic indices of this country, who are the most affected people and what is their ratio in your entire population? Children, youth, and the old. Because most old are retired. Youth are not employed. You understand now? The children are underage. So overall together, you have close to 75% of this population out of the entire 100% of your population. So if you look at it, even the GDP, these people have the low GDP, you understand now? 75% of whatever you have. So what we are trying to say, let's look at what area that really is affecting these people. It's mostly two areas.
All right.
Food, feeding, food. Secondly, transportation. And these two things have a meeting point whereby it spells a serious impact on the economy of the nation. Number one, the food stuff. The increase in price of food item is so alarming. We are not asking you to open the border so that every rubbish of things shall be poured into the nation. No! Let's manage what we have. Let's look at our food reserve. Do you need to cushion the amount of food going into the market? Make the supply higher than the demand so that the price will come down. Number one, look at your reserve. Bring out a lot of food items from your reserve and make the supply, more than the demand. That is number one. Number two is that you have price control with what we are pushing into the market. You can have your price control. Government have this mechanism in place. They have agency that their work, you understand now, is to look at price control in the market. That is number one. Call manufacturers, food manufacturers, Cadbury's, Fisa, bring them, cowbell manufacturers, all Dangote and so on. You have Isiaka Rabi, all those people that their product today is a household name in Nigeria. Call them, look at them. What measures do you want me to give you as incentive? Mr. President mentioned it before before the election. Call these people now. This is the time for practical. Call them. I want your product to be a source of palliative to my citizens. How do you want me to come in? Number two. Number three, transportation. The movement of goods and people from one place to the other have serious impact on the cost of goods and items and goods and services in this country. Every hotel will tell you, look, I bought fuel 615,000 naira, 615 naira. I bought fuel 700 and this. Some people will tell you that, look, do you know I bought my fuel 800 naira? It's lie. Just understand now, to have a court to cheat on their passengers. Man, it's lie. They bought it 615 naira. Let me tell you, Amadi, what is there is that, look, within 1 month, we have the structure, federal urban mass in place. If this money you give to this state and you told them that, look, I'm giving you this 5 billion, establish state assisted mass transport transit within your state within 2 weeks, buy vehicle, you give contract to people, supply vehicle, employ guys, people that will be the driver and the conductors, and let them start operating from one local government to the other. And you reduce the price. Because the cost of this transport of these vehicles come from the federal government. It's not from the state. And you're not taking any loan. What are we saying? Then now it will have a cushion effect on the cost of transportation of goods and services. And this will be a sort of what? Of succor. A sort of what? Of relief for the entire citizen. Because if you need to move within the state from one local government to the other, if it's supposed to be 100 naira, you're going to pay 50 naira. Because the state own transport. If you within the FCT or from one state to the other owned by the federal urban mass, if it's instead of maybe 5,000 naira, you charge 3,000 naira. 2,000 difference, you will be killed. And that's another source of income for the federal government. Now, why are we not taking these measures? Well, for now, let me tell you, this is just an interim measure the federal government can take, not the long time. This is just the short time measures you can take. We have the long time measures you can take that the people will come back and look, we hail this government. It has done our bidding. You have given us our expectation. You understand now? But the way we are going, I won't say we are not getting it right. I don't know what Mr. President has as a joker, because it will be too early for anybody to judge a government of less than 3 months, if I'm not mistaken. It will be too early. All
right, that's fair enough. When you put it like that, possible solutions that the government can start to look into, short-term solutions. I'd like to tell our viewers now that our phone lines are open, so you can call in to make your contributions or ask your questions. Let's move over now quickly to what's set to happen tomorrow. Tomorrow is September 6th, 2023. We have the tribunal sitting at the Court of Appeal. They will be delivering their judgment on the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal regarding petitions by the PDP presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar, the Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi, and I believe the APM thereabout. So the question now is, we've seen security agencies saying that they will not condone any unlawful action by troublemakers, as they call them, ahead of the delivery of the judgment of the Presidential Tribunal. Brigadier General Tukur Gusau, the Director of Defense Information, gave the warning on Monday, and he told those who might be planning to cause violence on the day to discard the idea. I'd like to get your thoughts on the process so far. Some persons say that it is a bit silly to think that a tribunal can unseat a president. Others say that the law is the law, and as long as it's followed, anything can happen. And still others are of the question that they just want to get answers to issues of law, such as the 25% in FCT, such as perhaps some issues with qualification of candidate, and so on and so forth. I'd like to get your general thoughts, and also these warnings of unlawful unrest that might occur when the judgment is out.
Mr. Martin, this is a very sensitive issue when it comes to the issue of law, and particularly it has to do with the issue of election tribunal. And I don't want to preempt the judgment that we are expecting tomorrow. But as a public analyst, I would like you to understand that, one, for the defense to put in place measures and want every citizen to be law-abiding citizen against the outcome of tomorrow's judgment is in the interest of every citizen and the interest of our nation. We have no any other nation than Nigeria. This is our country, this is our fatherland, this is our motherland, and we must protect it in every aspect of our life. And we must support the government to establish peace, and there should be peace, and we should be peace lovers and peace abiding citizens. That is number one. He is just reminding us, to know that we should be peace law abiding citizens. That's what I see in it. So that whatever be the outcome of the process tomorrow, nobody should take onto the street. That is number one. Number two, what are we expecting? Some people have already the tribunal is not going to be, you can't unseat on a government. Let me tell you, believe me honestly, I have mentioned it. Check the history of the whole world. Very difficult. Very difficult. We will not be sincere with ourselves. This is our country. Say, you are coming to a judgment to unseat a government that has been sworn in, have a swing into action when it comes to governance from the federal level, not at state level. Amadi, do you know what it costs the federal government to execute an election, a presidential election? It's close to our entire annual budget. What are we saying? The risk involved, what we have overcome to reach this place, for us to go back. Let me tell you, believe me honestly, I'm not preempting the judge. If we love our nation, if we don't pray to go back. You understand now? But let's look at the process. If there's anything that is amendable, it should be amended. The issue of 25%, you understand now? Let's look at it. If it needs to be amended, fine. If there are gray areas that the judges feel that, we look at it, and let me tell you, even look at it, the entire process, the law is meant for who? For the Nigerian, for the citizens. And who made the law? Are we not, isn't it Nigerians? If it will go contrary to the peace, unity, and law of Nigeria, the law will also be directly, tactically, or directly or indirectly be organized that, we should let Nigeria be an indefatigable country. We should remain one, an indivisible country. What are we saying? Here, law is meant for the people, and the people are meant for the law. You understand now? So you cannot have the law and kill the people. It's better when you bend the law and have the people alive. Will you throw our nation into chaos? Into crisis? No. We are talking about palliative measures. Now, look at what we are facing. And now we say are we saying we should go and reorganize another election? If after the election, then the person that came second again said he refused. And the same they went back again with all serious measures, evidence and proofs. What are you going to say? Look, let me tell you. We have crossed that bridge. And God in his infinite mercy has brought us to where we are. We are still brothers and sisters. We have a peaceful nation whereby everybody goes by his daily affairs and go back safely. So now the government in place is doing what she knows best to do in the interest of the citizen. So let's allow peace to reign. Whatever comes out of the judgment tomorrow should be a source of relief for everyone, both the contender and both the government and those in power. So, but one thing there is, areas of grievances should be underlined, taking notice of, so that in the next coming election, those areas should not come up again. such issues should not come up again. So I'm very sure that, look, the Chief Judge of the Federation and his co-judges knows what is better for Nigeria. And they knew quite well what the Constitution says about all this process. And they knew quite well, look, they themselves, they are there in the interest of what? Of the nation, not an individual.
All right, and Dr. Suleiman, let's quickly hear from one of our callers here. Hello, good afternoon. Sorry, I didn't quite get that. You said? All right, thank you for calling. Please go ahead. All right, please, can you call back? Your voice is breaking up. Can you call back? The network is not clear. All right, please, the caller from Ebonyi State, if you can reach out again. I see some other calls have come in, but please try again. We couldn't quite hear you. Perhaps there was some issue with the network. If you can leave your current position. But you were saying about the tribunal and things turning out. But I'd like to say, even with all of this, what do you think would be the lesson here? And also, do you see this going all the way to the Supreme Court?
Let me tell you, of course, you see, like, let me open the whole issue all open. Peter Obi really want to make a case, out of this issue. And the government in place want to show that, look, we have a successful outing, an election has been conducted, and we have won, understand now. So whoever is aggrieved should go ahead through the due process. And this due process we are. Let me tell you, after this tribunal, I'm assuring you it will go to Supreme Court. Because if it is not going to Supreme Court, it should have been, understand now, that look, both Peter Obi and Atiku have said, look, whatever the tribunal said, they would have said, look, we are going to be okay. But the way you are looking at it, and everybody is packaging his bag that, look, after tribunal, we are going back to where? To Supreme Court. So at the end of the day, Supreme Court will have the final say. And here, we want it or we don't want it. We said election what? Tribunal. This election tribunal was constituted by the election process itself and by the federal government. You understand now? Is a segment of what? Of the Supreme Court. Whatever this tribunal gathered and the judges have, the panel have at the end of the day, it is what they are going to submit to what? To the Supreme Court. And these are the cases that the Supreme Court judges are going to sit and look at it collectively. So I think it is in the better interest of every leader of these parties, LP, PDP, and APC. Let them first put Nigeria in place. Let them have Nigeria number one as their interest. Let them know that the citizens they are fighting for today is more than themselves. The citizens are more than themselves, the leaders. Because whatever we are saying today, after 4 years, is just a 4 years tenure. We'll go back again to the drawing board, which is the electioneering process again. So what are we saying? Good, bad, or ugly, we pray for the best and the good for this nation and for our leaders. Let me tell you, I want everybody to play safe and to be sensitive that, look, they have record to make and they have legacy to leave. And let me quote Julius Caesar: the deed that men did live after them. But even today we are in this society, we live with them before they live after them. So let them be very sensitive that today posterity matters a lot to them. So that I don't want a situation whereby today we quote with a great Awo, great Isaac, great Sardauna. Why are they great? Because they have made a lot of sacrifice, personal sacrifice in the interest of Nigeria, the nation, and their people, Nigeria at large. So what is wrong with our leaders today? So if you are so much passionate about Nigeria and about Nigerians, I think there is a sacrifice that, look, at this point in time, you have to do it because of Nigeria and Nigerians, even because of your followers. Because I don't think, Jonathan Bello said one thing. He said, look, no blood, a single life, worth it for him, you understand now, because for him to win the election. He doesn't deserve it. And look, then did anybody deserve it among them? This is a man that is a president, and he said, look, he have all the apparatus, the government apparatus in his hand to control, to forcefully remain in power. But he willingly hand over to Mr. President Muhammad as declared the winner. So what are we saying? You that you are not in power, you don't have the police, you don't have the soldiers, you don't have the military. What I am saying that, look, let's be very sensitive to every point before us, to every issue before us as Nigerians, as leaders. We should not look at that seat as paramount, that look, the moment I get there, I want to be called the President Federal Republic of Nigeria. No, that should not be your paramount interest. Your interest should be Nigeria and the Nigerians. If one body must be killed, even let me tell you, if they have to understand, they should know that, look, a bullet that will be shot at a single person, that bullet is supposed to go, because this bullet is supposed to be used in securing the integrity of this country. So what I'm saying is that, look, let leaders, our leaders, know quite all right that, look, we have come of age whereby personal interest should not overshadow national interest, should not overshadow the interest of the entire citizen of Nigeria. You are talking of close to 300 million population of Nigerians. What are you saying, Amadi? I think our leaders have to reason constructively, and we have to be progressive in our reasoning. We have to be rational in our reasoning. We have to be logical in our reasoning, and we have to be strategic in our reasoning, and we have to be reformist when it comes to reasoning. In the 21st century, we are talking about when reasoning is taking the center stage of leadership.
All right, so how do you think this can work, especially now that we have what people have termed an attack on democracy in West Africa or in Africa? The latest news is the issue of Gabon, which where the president was also overthrown by the military. So while we're speaking about, these systems, how do you think we can, will I say, broaden or deepen or elongate democracy and not have a situation where we're seeing military taking over?
Yes, we are in the process. This tribunal, since the beginning of this Fourth Republic, since the beginning of the Fourth Republic, in 1999, issues have come up at the federal level, at the state level, even at the local government level, where people go to tribunal from there to Supreme Court. Let me tell you, the last judgment between, if I'm not mistaken, it was between President Muhammad Buhari, then with Yaradua. The late Yaradua admitted that, look, the whole process that brought him into power is not as expected in due process as according to the law. He knows there are issues that need to be addressed. That is number one. Number two, let me tell you, in that situation, General Muhammad Buhari, if I'm not mistaken, was going for a kind of rally whereby he needs to demonstrate with his people. And on his way going in the airport, I learned that he met Teofilo Danjuma, who was his superior in the military then. He called him in his usual name, Dogo. I mean, Mr. President Buhari. He said, sir, where are you going to? So we have to go back and take your issue to court. And Mr. President, Buhari take his case to court. And what happened? After that incident, look at the next election, he won. And in that sitting in the Supreme Court, I thought it was a case between the 7 judges altogether. Then 6, maybe 5. Then 4 were together. Then it remains only one person. They divided 2-2 across the bar. 2 for Yaradua and 2 for Musa Buhari. So the Chief Justice then take a position and supported Yaradua in the interest of the nation and peace. And look, this is what we are saying. This is the process we are making in democracy. And we are getting there. And let me tell you, I have gotten to read the heart of the military, directly or indirectly. They have no interest in anything that have to do with coup. They are to protect democracy. Not even Mr. President. They have to protect democracy, number one, and they have to protect the nation internally and externally. And they must show that, look, any government in power that has been sworn in by the Chief Justice of the Federation must be protected to the latter, from A to Z. without any mistake. So all the government agencies, law enforcement agencies knew their constitutional responsibility when it comes to security issues, measures, and how to have peace in this country. So anybody that wants to try to see the system, if it is working or not, you understand now, please dare the security force, and you will see it working. So to me, I don't think that we are not progressive. We are making progress in terms of democracy in Nigeria. But look, we are still in the learning process. As far as we get out of, whereby we look at all the drama that Elbobe made the other time, and still yet, we are able to get out of it. And Mr. President Jonathan, honorably, and handed over to President Muhammad Buhari, and look at, he is now a great man and a hero when we are talking of democracy today in Nigeria and in the whole Africa and the whole world. And he is reaping what? The dividend of what? Of protecting democracy in Nigeria today. Ebele Jonathan today is a hero, and he has written his name in the golden book of history in Nigeria democratically.
So categorically, democracy is a better option than military rule.
Of course, of course.
Because there have been arguments, I'd like to hear, because people cite things. They say there's corruption, it's not real civil rule, or it's not real democracy, and so on and so forth. So as a scholar, someone who is well-versed, how do you weigh in on that debate?
Let me tell you, if you have to look at democracy under military administration in the history of the world is not, even when you talk of the look at the time of Aristotle, Plato, Friedrich Nietzsche, Immanuel Kant, Hegel, all these philosophers in their times, it was not. Let's look at it back to the time of Christ. So you don't have dictatorship. It is, you have to buy in the interest of the people, the mind of the people, get their what? Their acceptance. The church, the mosque must get the acceptance of the people. The governance must get the acceptance of the people. So now what are we saying? Military never get the acceptance of the people. They came to power with the force, with the power of the barrel of the gun, and which is by threat and by force. And this is, we are talking of the 21st century, that look, we are against anything that is against the fundamental human right in any form and in any society. So now democracy is still the option. It's number one, it's number two, and number three, and nothing close to it than democracy. Let me tell you, if you have democracy in place, what we are discussing today is the process of democracy, electionary process. So everybody want to get there and say, look, I'm the best. So everybody want to outsmart the other. Even those that went to tribunal have also tried in their own way to outbid the winner, the president today, but Asuwaji Ahmed Bola Asuwaji Tinubu. Peter Obi also have his own case. He tried to outsmart him wherever he thinks it's possible. They have case against him. The same with Atiku Abubakar in PDP. You understand now? So it is a race that whoever wants it, in whatever form, get the medal. So now, Asuwaji Ahmed Tinubu has been declared the winner. We have something in place. Let me tell you, Amadi, apart from the process, we have other institutions that have to come together and look at the winner. Who do we think is the winner? They look at it. Not only INEC. No! Not Mahmoud Yakubu alone. Not INEC as an institution alone will sit down and say, look, this has been win. They also have to consult other institutions. We have the civil rights organizations. We have the international organizations that are there. We have other institutions. The police are there. The military are there. They are also observing. They are seeing. They are part of the electionary process. We have the traditional rulers. If all these stakeholders have gotten at least 65% of the view of the people that look, this election is good and fine, we can go with it, then any other issues that come after it should go through the tribunal and to the court. And this is the process. And let me tell you, the whole thing here is that if it is military administration leadership, you have no court to go. It's by decree. Today, me and you are talking of the law, constitution, Nigerian constitution. The law, the military doesn't do anything like constitution. Look, today we wake up and the military says, look, every price of bag of rice today is 20 naira, and you are found, if you are found selling it beyond 20,000 naira or 20 naira, you are going to prison. It's a decree. You have no right. they have marched on your fundamental human right, because the process of you getting that right have gone beyond the cost price they are giving to sell it. This is the beauty of democracy. Democracy will not tell you so. So now look at it. We are still negotiating. The government is still negotiating between Labour and the government, trying to look at a forceful way out. And this is why me and you are here. In the military, we have limitation to what we can discuss in this studio. This is the beauty of democracy. So I still term democracy. And as I'm talking to you, the military knew quite well, look, they have been relegated. Sorry, they have been moved to their constitutional duty professionally to defend the integrity, the sovereignty of this nation within and outside this country.
Right, speaking about that, what would you say should be Nigeria's response to some of the coups we've seen? We saw there were even allegations that perhaps the way President Buhari reacted, or his body language, or his reactions to the earlier coups might have been what encouraged the more we saw. How do you think Nigeria should be targeting this? Should we be looking to put skin in the game? And like you said, the military is meant to protect our sovereignty and all that. Should we be considering that, or is it a case where it's not really our business? Let
me tell you, sorry to cut you in. Politically and administratively and historically, Nigerian DNA is quite different from the Gabon, Niger DNA. What happened in Niger cannot happen here. Our colonial master is not French. There's no any Britain bank, no any of our money reserve that the British up to today have any control over us, that we have taken a loan from them. Even not the same Paris that forfeited Nigerian Paris Club money to Nigeria, the former president Olusegun Obasanjo, and the same Paris government that is now holding these people to ransom, their people to ransom financially, that they have their reserve, the government that they are complaining of before the military came up. Let me tell you, look, when it comes to foreign diplomatic relationship among community of nations, it is an open game. If you know what you want within that arena, this is a global village, and we are talking of globalization, whereby interests of nations have to play within some principle and tactics that is within the reach of every nation and internationally. And it depends on what you put in place and how you play your card. Looking at the position of Nigeria and its population today in Africa, looking at what the global situation worldwide politically, you know that whatever affects Nigeria today affects the whole African race, black race. So very good in this aspect. All European nations will be sensitive to Nigeria because they have their investment in Nigeria and in Africa. We are the big brothers, and if not that we are the big brothers, we determine a lot what happens in other countries. If not, would Mr. President be talking of military incursion in Niger? No. All
right, Suleiman, we lost the call again. Some calls have been trying to come in, but we keep losing them. But anyway, you've spoken about how we should handle this and so on. But let's try and end it on the note of things to still expect. You spoke about, I think you said under 3 months of President Tinubu is actually approaching, or just about 100 days, we're about rounding up in that regard. I'd like to get your thoughts about this government. You've already said you believe in the president, but the president now has got his will I call it his lieutenants, so to speak, his ministers.
His cabinet, yeah.
Yes, they've all come in just some moments ago. The Minister of Education inaugurated an eight-man committee to revamp or to make a roadmap to drive the education sector, and we've been seeing some movement here and there. I'd like to get your thoughts as to your assessment within these 100 days, especially now that the ministers have come in and have the opportunity to further his agenda.
I think I will not be totally 100% pro-government and anti-government. We'll look at it from progressive aspect of the government and the citizen as a nation, or building a nation. Particularly when I mention issues, I said in this 21st century. Looking at the ministers, the cabinet of Mr. President, the Minister of Works, Mr. Honorable Umar here.
Dr. Omai.
Omai.
Yeah.
I heard him say that, look, we are going to have an super express road from Abuja to Lagos, whereby it will be a 4-hour drive from Abuja to Lagos. And they are going to work on that within the next 4 years. And this is what I am expecting from such a government. Because the mistake that Jonathan Ebele did was for him not to have a super highway from Abuja to Rivers, to his state.
You mean Bayelsa?
Bayelsa. The first thing I said, when even President Buhari inaugurated and commissioned the road from Kanu superhighway to Abuja, I said it was late. Why don't him did it in his first tenure? It will have been a thing of the past. So if the minister Umar is saying that, look, we are going to start immediately, it's a plus for the government, and I pray they will achieve it. Number one, the Minister of Education have constituted 7-man committee, and looking at this is what we are expecting. It is not a one-man show whereby you believe in the word sitting tight in one corner of your office, and they bring file for you, treat it, give contract with that. No. With this committee, I am very sure that they are going to give him what is the demand, what is their expectation, and what are the gray areas, what are the solution and the problem, how do we get the solution to it. And this is what we are saying. Look at the problem, come forth with the problems for me, and let's look at the solution and the time framework that we can use to resolve all this crisis in the interest of our country. And this is what the minister should be doing on behalf of Mr. President. If the minister, look, I'm not expecting, maybe, I don't know, I'm expecting Mr. President to give them a mandate. If you don't give me a blueprint, what you intend to do in the next 6 months, I will give you a timeline. This is what I'm expecting from you. In the next 6 months, if you are not doing, I will give you a benefit of that of another 2 months, 3 months. If you are not 9 months, you are not giving any result, I will take you out of that seat. Because whatever you did as a minister bounced back to me as the president, and it's going to be on my record that, look, I achieved, I didn't achieve, and your achievement in whatsoever quota positively add to the progress and history I'm going to leave for Nigeria. And look, the mandate given to him was given to Mr. President, not his ministers. And I want Mr. President to be very sensitive and very, very, very active when it's in relation with its ministers. He should be having sleepless nights with them, because look, all these people you are given appointment, the mandate we gave to you was not a mandate for all the ministers. It was a mandate given to you as Mr. President. We knew quite all right who you are and why we give you. It was not given to them. So we expect you to have gotten the right people in the right place to do the right thing for you, to give us the right result. So this is what we are saying.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Suleiman. It's been a pleasure talking to you. Hopefully we get to talk once again, maybe after the tribunal judgment, and we take a look at the mood of the nation. Thank you so much.
Quite interesting. I'll be there for you, Mr. Martin. It's a pleasure once again meeting you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, that's all we'll take on the program for today. This is how we bring it close to the Polity. Don't forget, the Polity comes to your TV sets, your mobile device, and any others, 2 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. every weekday. See you tomorrow. Bye for now. I am Amadou Nobel.